Hello and welcome back. Now, it is with a heavy heart that I have to report another missing episode, although it's not missing properly. I'll just say, I've always said about the great respect for courseplay, about when you get the message that the worker has completed their task. It is this very worker that completed. If you take note now, you'll notice that the straw has been baled, and it was this particular task. I had completed a massive, and it was a massive episode where now you guys know, because it's actually included in the game, so you know that I've not made it up. I literally had 44 bales of normal straw that we got from Field 16. I had put them at the BGA. We had gone through the test. I think it was the episode before. In fact, yeah, let me grab the Sammy. We'll talk. And I want to put pieces together whilst you can, because as you guys know, the bales and all. I mean, you have seen everything that we've done through this Let's Play, but I wanted to piece this together now on the episode after, so that there's still facts, although I don't think anyone doubts the fact that I had 44 bales. Literally, I could take a picture of that particular fact, but basically what we did was I had the spur mix, as you'll all remember, and we were testing this particular mod, and the spur mix produced well, it looks like to show you what that actually says, that what it is. Okay, it was straw. Basically, when we had a brainwave, because I'd obviously gone out, we'd got the add-on straw harvest on, and I looked. I said I was going to go out of the game on the previous episode, and I did. I went and I looked on the forums for if there was a way that you could change straw pellets back into straw, and I found absolutely nothing. So I thought, hang on a minute, if I stop the straw harvest, the add-on straw harvest, surely it no longer knows what straw pellets are, and it didn't. And that's what this snow is. It looks the snow in the middle of autumn. It's not freak snow, it's not a freak snowstorm. It didn't know what the pellets were, and it actually, when I got back in the game, it called it snow. So yes, that snow is one pellet that we did in one bale that we made pellets out of with the straw harvest, and then when we removed the straw harvest, the game no longer had a classification for what it was and called it snow. So yes, that's what happened. But in the opposite, after that, typically you can see the manure in this, the compost, okay, as it calls, 4,904 litres left of that, and that is all that is left, because in the episode that died, I went and took the Sammy to bale that. Oh, in fact, let me show you both. This was done the episode before. That's obviously accounted for. But this field was still in need of being baled, which you can see that it is now baled, and so was field 14. So I did this one, got away with it, and then got the fateful message. Field 14 was massive, but I was working on this so hardly. I wanted to get all those 44 bales into the spur mix then dumped into the compost heap, and then it turns them into compost, or manure as it calls it. So I spent an entire, it was well over, it was more than one recording session, to be honest. It really was. Why is that lumpy there? I thought I'd fix that. Anyway, yes, I spent absolutely ages I grabbed the 44 bales, dumped them here. In fact, I made a mistake. I actually dumped them inside there, which made things more difficult. I think I was tired. I'd been out all day yesterday, and I was just wanting to get stuck into this. And I was so over the moon once I'd realised that you can put them in the spur mix, that I dumped all of the 44 bales in there, which then meant I'd got to grab them again, because in my mind when I did that I thought the straw would turn to manure. It didn't. That's why I'd got the spur mix. You'd got to grab the bales, put them in the spur mix, that then changed them into straw again from a bale, and then I reversed into this, emptied the spur mix contents into that, then it created compost. So there was a lot of double handling that went on in this episode, and it was on that fateful moment that I got the message. I had actually grabbed all of the manure from this. I've still got the manure, the normal manure. I'll show you. It took so long. Oh wow, more births. We've got 59,963 litres, or we know it may be a bit more. I'm going to do that in a minute, but I just wanted to explain this, and that's why it's left on speed 1, so that time isn't ticking very badly. This is real time for me to talk to you guys and explain what actually happened. So, those 44 bales, which is 160,000 litres, they were then taken in many loads over to the BGA. And I also took the I don't know if I've got any bales left. No, I think I grabbed the bales, the silage bales, which we'd had for quite a while. I'd left the ones around the edges of the fields. I'd said I'm not picking those up until I've done the harvest. But the harvest was done. So that same thing, I grabbed all of the silage bales around all of here and took those to the BGA, and also those that I'd put at 36 at the end of that farmer's field, the one next to 15, which I know was naughty, and I said so at the time that it was crafty, but I'd spoken to the farmer, blah blah blah. But I took those 36 as well, and did I take the? That's right. No, I took all the ones from around this field. I can't recall. Oh yeah, there are some. There are some around 14. Also, no, I think I showed you that last episode. Yes, I did. So I'm trying to recap in my brain with what was missing and what I've said in the previous episode, which did keep. I also, once I'd done all of that, from that point onwards, it's hard for me to remember what actually is in the second half of that, whether that was... Yeah, actually, I think some of what I'm explaining is in the previous episode. I think some of the runs to the BGA are actually in there, thinking about it. Yes, because the amounts... I'm going to have to check in editing, and I might need to re-record a little bit like this to actually recap exactly what's missing and what's not, to be truthful. But definitely there is an awful lot. The spur mix episode where I've discovered that if I remove the add-on straw harvest, I can successfully change the bales back into straw and then the straw into manure. So there was 160,000 litres, actually, yeah, more, plus there's 4 bales I'm not accounting for in that 160,000, so an awful lot of bales that we converted into manure, and then that manure we ran over to the BGA, all of that, and obviously got converted. And one thing I can show you, which I'm going to show you now, because this is probably the very best proof of all of what I did. The one thing I didn't do, I only did one run of digestate 125,000 litres, which is in the last episode. I did that, and I did I did show how much there was, but this is just a recap to prove what I'm saying without that episode, just to sort of prove by the sheer amount of digestate that we've got in there that obviously there's something has produced that, and the thing that produced it was all that manure. And obviously you can still see that the manure exists in this particular place. So this is just a recap on that before we get cracking with doing the actual episode itself, which is the episode where I want to be shifting all that manure and also all of that digestate, because obviously to you look up and I've got 279,000. It's how did you get that? I got a 66,000 BGA payment, which you do see in the previous episode, thank goodness. But it doesn't explain how did I get such a bumper payment of 66,000. Well, if you imagine, you know that when I do a 40,000 litre run, I get 20,000 BGA. I've done that so many times that obviously you know that. Well, that was 3 and a bit runs of the compost from the compost heap that produced that 66,000. In fact, there's a little bit more. I actually ran out of time, which that does get shown in the previous episode. Whoa. I literally was at 12 o'clock with the last couple. I think I've done 3 more runs. 3 more runs since then. So that is 3 more. Yeah, that is going to be another 60,000 biogas payment, and I've still got the manure to take now, so it's going to be more. We're going to do that now. That's going to be one of the first things we're going to do, is to take that. But it couldn't really, this particular missing episode couldn't really be a worse episode than it is, because the sort of money that appeared, and you'll see from where we go now in the biogas plant that the 44 straw bales are missing. So that's obviously proof in itself, which is, as you know, 4,000 litres in each particular bale. So 44 bales is 4 times 44,000 litres. I'm getting confusing myself now, which is easily done with figures. Yeah, so I just obviously wanted for you guys to see where we all of a sudden have gone from. We were on 200,000, we've now got 79,000 more. 66,000 of that, thankfully we're on quite an evenish number. It was about 200,000, so the 79,000 that has appeared, 66,000 which appear in the previous episode. There's 95,628 left. You will see there was another 25,000 on that. That was the one run that I did yesterday. So that is in there. There is, yeah, actually thinking about it, that proves there's an awful lot of bales in there as well. Because, you know, if I do a full 40,000 litre run of manure, it produces 16,000 litres of digestate. So obviously I'd done all of that 4 or 5 runs of the manure to here, which produces 16,000 per run, but I'd also done those 36 bales of traditional silage, which also produce a lot of digestate. So that's just hopefully enough proof that proves that 79,000 was 125,000 run. The other thing we've got to do is the digestate is paying terribly well. Now I don't know if it still is now. I can't remember whether, oh no I did, I slept. We've got to see, because the payout may have been, basically the slurry yard is paying very well. It did when I finished in daylight. I left it running while I slept, which then meant the payout was in the morning, literally just. Well, it's a bit close for comfort. Which means that the slurry yard is almost doing the equivalent of, well, the best payouts that we've seen this only once before, where it pays out 15,000 for a 25,000 thing. Now that on hard economy is absolutely amazing, so therefore we have got to use this to our advantage. So what I said was we've got to grab all of that digestate out. That is the first thing we need to do. Let's just check that that hasn't changed though, and it wasn't due to when it started, but I think game mechanics will say that that is definitely due to that. So this episode, this is mainly a totting up exercise that I'm going to be doing now. While that's doing, let's go and grab, we need to do, first things first, as any farmer would, we need to clean up the animal area. So we need to go and get the buckets and the front loader from that field where we were doing the compost. We'll leave that doing that, and then what we're going to do is, the main purpose of this episode is to tidy up all of the manure and literally to tot up. See, I'm getting quite interested now. I totted this up in my head based upon very loose maths, and I think we should be, by the time we finished all of the manure runs today, I have a sneaky feeling that we truly, now am I going to, yeah, I am going to need that as well. So I'm going to need to drop the big bag handler, which is the thing I've got selected. We also need to grab, now then, I don't think, no I can't put the weight on and that as well. We're going to need this, and we shouldn't really need the weight. So we do need the bucket though, so let's grab the bucket. Let me just grab that. Oh no, I've got something in it. I've got manure in it, haven't I? Which really isn't manure. It's oh, I can't. I was just going to say I'll grab the thing, but I can't because the weight. I would need the weight to do this. Let's just drop that in here. That's brilliant. Right, now let's go clean up. Let's lift that up high though, so we can actually have good visibility. So yes, literally the rest of this episode, now that I've sort of pieced together and shown you the missing bales. Now let's have a look at this, because does it still say snow? Because when I first came in, I thought it said straw, but when I tipped it out, when I grabbed it into the thing, it did say snow. Yeah, it does. So wow, that is quite phenomenal. Right, we're going to dump that into the water because truthfully it's not going to hurt, and it would in real life melt it. In fact, I think it will in time do that exact thing. So can we get close enough without of course I don't. Let's do it off my land into the water. It will let me do that. Right, so then let's get the animals done first. Definitely top priority. And then we will literally do everything that we've said. We will get there's a few bales left around the edge of this, but not many. We did the bulk of that. I think we had 41 or something like that, I seem to recall. So that's the proof of the one bale that we did literally. Right, let's change this now. Oh, I'd forgot. Oh wow. I'd forgotten how the snowblower actually does that. Right, let's clean up first. That is the most important thing. Right, now I'm going to leave this because, well, actually let's move him out of the way. Now the Sammy. Oh, I took the Sammy to the field, didn't I? Can I do? Yes, I can. I only need the truck. That'll do fine. I have also got the Fendt GT if I was really... Oh, I didn't see now how much that we got from that. 295. Indicators on. Now then, it should, if I'm clever, tell me how much income I've got from today, which is harvest income, I think it is under, isn't it? Oh, yeah, 61,600, 31,277. So it's still at 15,000 because that's 2 runs today. So that is 15,500, 600 and something. Yes, so we're still on. So that's brilliant. Right, let's just get the animals fed and the straw done, and then we will literally go and do cash up. So I'd like to see this before the episode's over. Every tiny little bit of income that we've got. Oh, I hate it when I do that. Right, so let's feed the animals first, water them, straw them, and then we can get on with this cashing up, you could call it, where we literally take the rest of the manure and the rest of the digestate, especially at this minute, and cash up, because I know things are going to be tight. I was actually quite worried a couple of episodes ago, thinking I'm not going to get in there, definitely not before next year. But now I'm not so sure. Totting that up last night, I'm actually quietly confident that we'll be at least up at 500,000. And I've already said a few episodes ago, I don't mind. We bought fields, and like anybody, if we're buying something big and you couldn't afford to do that any other way than to sell one of your fields, not all, one of your fields. So if we sold field 12, 13, obviously I'm also going to harvest from that before we sell them. I'm not going to be silly. But if we sell that, that's 133,000. So if you take 133,000 from 700,000, the price of the farmyard, you get trying to work out the math, roughly 570,000. So if we're getting close to 500,000 with the, now another thing we need to look at today is what are we getting for wheat. If wheat gets close to 400, we are selling it. So 370 plus, we're selling it at that, because the highest point, which we're approaching in a few days, is 400. So if we get anywhere near 370, I'm happy with that. Likewise, canola, highest point is 700. No, actually, we've just missed Port South East at 665. The figure I mentioned was 670. If we get 670 on that, we're only 30 off. I will accept that. Now, if I cash both of those in at those amounts, I should get roughly 50,000 for both. I think that's a guesstimate with my very poor maths. But if we sell that and do all this running, and also for the first time, I'm going to look and see how much we're getting from this respectable amount of. No, I don't want to do it all. We'll do that. That fee is acceptable. It's, yeah. Right, so we also have cashed in our milk. Right, let's do the water while I'm chattering. We've got quite a few births that will be happening over the next few days. There were, when I checked in the previous, that might have been in the last episode actually. I did check what we'd got coming up, and there were quite a few imminent births. So over the next couple of days there are going to be quite a few births. We had 75 cows, so in total that'll be 75 births, which will totally fill this. But obviously we bought 50. I think we bought in 3 stages, but 2 of the stages were. Why am I doing the straw there? That's not where the straw gets dropped. So we're talking, trying to do this at the same time. I apologise for my foolishness. Yes, so eventually there will be 150 births, and we will fill this. That was always the plan with the births of the animals, but we did it in 3 stages. I think we had 49 or something like that, and then I think we we loaned 60 odd thousand to fill up the animals, and I think we did that over a couple of days. It was, or hours, it might have been hours, so there will be a slight discrepancy with the animal births because of the fact that I did that. So, but eventually over the next few days all of those births will catch up, and we will have all of our cattle given birth, and there will be a full, that will literally fill that because of the amount of cattle that we'd got. Yeah, in fact we had 77, so truthfully there will be 2 births that can't appear, so I will in essence have lost 2 cows, which is rather annoying but can't be helped. So that is the recap. I think we're now up to where we should be. It's now a matter of catching up to what we can see, which is the manure. Well, everything we're going to do today is obviously, you can see the proof that something produced all of this digestate. You know that I had 44 bales of straw, which is 160 something thousand litres of straw, that then obviously produced the same amount of 1,000 litres of manure, which then produced an awful lot of digestate. So that is just explaining where this magically came from, because it wasn't magic, but it does appear so, because I've lost an episode that proves how we got that you guys can never see. I can prove I've got an episode, because what happened was, as I say, I got the message of Courseplay that I've always warned you of, and for once I stupidly said, I did save the game, I did have the forethought to do that, because otherwise they would have had to do it again, where we would have lost all of that episode of the sperm mix and doing all of that work. So obviously that would have been terrible, so I saved it just as I approached, and the message changed from, I can't remember what the exact message is, but I can explain it. You will have, if you ever use Courseplay, you will understand. What happens is with a timeout, and this is when it goes funny, is you get that message to say that they have finished their work, and then after that you get the game change. If you leave it, this is probably, because it didn't seem like that long, but perhaps it was about 5 minutes later. I'm trying to think actually, did I have time sped up? Does that affect Courseplay? I always thought it was real time, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's actual game time, because I went over, literally, I literally followed, came onto the field with this very, it was this, I think it was, with this, and I ran across the field, and as I got to the Sammy, it changed from that the tractor had switched off due to inactivity, and at that fateful moment I jumped into the tractor, tried to jump into the tractor. That's when Courseplay doesn't know, or the game doesn't know what to do, because Courseplay is still active with a worker, you're in that worker, and I don't understand why it doesn't go right, because I can jump in a worker and using a universal passenger normally, but at that moment I know it will crash the game, and I've warned you guys it will crash the game. I didn't know it was that message though, I thought it was longer than that, so I again still didn't realise the consequences of my action. It crashes the game to such an extent that even you cannot get out of the game. The Giant's engine says not responding. Now I can obviously tab outside, I can use the Windows key in Windows to get outside into Windows itself, but Giants, all games have got that programmatical programming to say that that the focus remains on the game. Windows knows this, it's listening to the fact that the Giant's engine is running in the background, so therefore it's wanting the game to have the focus, which means although you can press right click on the taskbar and pull up Task Manager, it doesn't allow you to do anything with that. I was trying to be clever, because I know about IT, to actually use the key configurations. You can keep the Task Manager open, but it will not allow you, no matter what you do, to literally click your mouse on the end task for Giant's engine. It will not let you make that move, no matter what you do, whether you use key configurations or try to use your mouse. Giant's engine keeps the focus, and of course it's crashing and burning. So at that moment the only option I'd got was to press Control Alt Delete and end task. Now the one thing I hadn't realised was obviously my recording software was being thrashed about by the non-responsive Giant's engine, still trying to record, trundling along quite nicely. I never thought anything of this because I knew I'd saved the game. So in my eyes everything was fantastic. Game saved, won't lose game progress, and I didn't. That was at least one moment of foresight I did have. I never thought any more of the fact that my recording software was still recording. So when I thrashed the game, when I literally did logged out, press Control Alt Delete and log off, it obviously forced all programs that were running, including Giant's engine, to shut down. Then I logged back on, still at that moment unaware of totally what would happen. Now I looked at the recording, which was a massive recording, and I knew it was going to be a massive recording, and all it shows is it does show an MP4 file, but it won't play. My editing software doesn't recognise it as a piece of film anymore. It does recognise it's an MP4, but it tries to go non-responsive because it can't grab the file because it's corrupt. So that is the full explanation of exactly why we are missing an episode. I have still got that recording, and I've got another piece of software, recording software, where I could actually go into Windows. I might actually show you the evidence of that, but to be honest, I don't think really, with all the proof that I've already gone through, that you're going to need or want me to go to that length. I think I've gone to deep enough lengths by showing that in-game menu a few minutes ago that also shows the fact that we earned 66,000, and also the harvest income of 30,000, which was from one run you've seen here and one run that you saw in the last episode. And also the biogas income does show in the last episode that was still valid. So you've seen all the income earned, but I wanted to explain where the income came from, how come actually is like that. Right, we'll do the last run of digestate that we've got now, and then we will go and we shall take the manure we've got, the over 60,000, so that we then produce yet more. And then we're going to pick up the bales, but that's going to probably be another episode, because I think we'll be just running manure and the digestate in this one episode, and even that might be slightly longer than a normal 45-minute. So I'm going to finish this no matter what it takes, just so as we can see the final amount that we've got, apart from the 50-odd thousand from harvest income, unless by some freak, which it won't, we actually got the both of those amounts up to their top amount for taking the stuff, which we won't. It won't. It's 3 or 4 days off. I think the proper. It's I think it's 1-2 winter, and we're on early autumn, so we're a long way off from 400, unless there's a great demand, which obviously I would love for wheat, or a great demand for canola. Then we are literally we're aiming for getting the most we possibly can, or as close to the highest this time as possible. So I'm keeping my eye on the amounts on the map, the prices on the sell points, to make sure that we get the maximum for that. Right, sorry to waffle, I'm even sick of my own voice myself, but just wanted to literally catch you guys up on exactly where this has all come from, because we were on 200,000, and now with all of that we're on 334. Whoops, let's just level that off a little. Last run. Let's get this done, and we shall get the manure, which I don't think will be far off 2 loads, which again, that is another, that's 40,000 from the biogas, plus those 2 or 3 that I did after the 12 o'clock. I literally worked till about 3 o'clock, which that does show in the previous episode. All of that work, thankfully, does show, so I can at least prove that, which is good. So I think we stand a good. There's only really a discrepancy of about 70 odd thousand, which, to be honest, we've got the fields 12 and 13. Mind you, we've got those to harvest now. Thinking about this, I was going to leave those to the orange stage, but if we're selling the field, and also if we're wanting to convert those into silage, that takes 2 days. We'd have to do that quite soon to get that to do before. I'm thinking winter, because obviously I've got to sell the crops roughly at winter 1-2, so we can't move before that point because we're not going to have the money. So if we know that, then we need to have cut the grass in 12 and 13, and it's changed to silage. So it's 02 early autumn now, so I would think now, thinking about it, that is our top priority. So with no further ado, oh no, we do need to do that though. Being silly. We've still got to do the... Mind you, I'm thinking about this. No, it is more sensible. I am right. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Let's drop that on the ground. It does a few of the front loader even when you've been detached, so that's quite funny. Right, let's grab that. Now we can do that with the Sammy, and we can take it with the thing, so this can be used as a mower on 12-13. Now I have a sneaky feeling that there are still silage bales on. Yeah, there are. So we're actually going to need to also do that at the same time, because we're going to cause no end of trouble to this tractor if it's got to roll over. Right, so we need to reverse to grab that one. Yes, we need to set this going, definitely, because we need to bale this. Oh, we're going to need the Sammy as well. Oh well, this is a jigsaw puzzle. I always knew it was, of trying to get everything worked out so that everything works in a good time, in time for us to move into the farm. And I knew it was going to be a military exercise, so the order that we do things in is very important, because if we don't do things in that order, we do not get in time. So I've got to get the silage changed from grass to silage before winter 1-2. So that means we've got to cut 12 and 13 now. Let me just see. No, they've both got bales. Oh, this is going to be a nightmare. No, that's not going to work. We're going to have to clear those bales first, otherwise we're literally going to cause absolute mayhem. So let's go grab the truck. We'll do that. Then we'll grab the Sammy and get the baler on. And the when I say the Sammy's front weight, you know what I really mean is the crop sensor, because truthfully speaking, that has become its front weight. So if I refer to the front weight, you'll know that actually what I'm really talking about is the crop sensor. Right, now I believe this is still over in field 16 near the... Yes, I can see it actually over the hedge. So let's grab that. Grab the silage bales off fields 12 and 13. Oh, and actually, the one good thing is that does need... Now I'm sure when I just went a few minutes ago to the